Now we'll sing Surely the Presence.
There's a story of unfailing love echoes in my heart. There's a promise that you're always here. Your word will light my path. We shall fear the days to come. You are with us to the end. And everything is possible through God who gives us strength. You make everything brand new, 'cause you're the God of miracles. And everything is possible through God who gives us strength. Whether I am rich or I am poor, I will give you thanks. I will lift my voice and sing your praise in every circumstance. Whether found in sickness or in health, I have learned to be content. 'Cause everything is possible through God who gives us strength. You make everything brand new, 'cause you're the God of miracles. And everything is possible through God who gives us strength. Whoa, 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 who shall believe Jesus made a way? His blood poured out on Calvary has broken every chain. You make everything brand new, 'cause you're the God of miracles. And everything is possible through God who gives us strength. You make everything brand new, 'cause you're the God of miracles. And everything is possible through God who gives us strength. And everything is possible through God who gives us strength. And everything is possible. possible through God who gives us strength.
Thank you, Barbara and the Heavenly Noise Choir. Welcome to Unity of the Seacoast for Sunday, October 20th. And I'm Charlie Richard. Happy to be back from a big trip. If you are watching for the first time, we welcome you. If you're here for the first time, we double welcome you. And we'll reward you with food later on. If you have never heard this before, please take care and silence your cell phone at this time. And if you are online, please send us a message if I'm not speaking loudly enough. My hearing aids make it sound like I'm screaming, but I'm often told I don't speak loudly enough. You know, everybody has their individual problems in life. Last night I was out walking and I ran into a teenage witch who was walking. She's really, really upset with her mother because she wouldn't teach her to drive a stick. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all month. Yeah. Okay. So next, I would like to share with you the daily word for this Sunday, which is loving. The boundless love of God expresses through me, I am loving. To be loving means to be kind, understanding, and generous. It means forgiving grievances easily and seeking to understand myself and others. In striving to be loving toward others, I begin with myself. Exercising self-compassion when I make a mistake makes forgiving others easier. Taking time for self-care makes it more natural for me to be a nurturing presence for others. Treating myself well makes my generosity spontaneous and frequent. Love is the very nature of God. I am a spiritual being, which means love is my nature too. Through my loving nature, I am positive, optimistic, hopeful, and faith-filled. I am the heart and hands of God on the earth. I am loving. And from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 and 7, love is patient, love is kind. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Loving, the boundless love of God expresses through me, I am loving. Can you all say that one with me, please? I am loving. And we'll keep saying it. Okay, so our community has a mission, and we will like to share the mission statement. We ready up there? Yes? Okay. We are a loving, nurturing community dedicated to being a positive, spiritual living, to awaken oneness with God within us all. We dedicate this year to activating the abundance and prosperity in our lives with gratitude, love, action, and connecting to the divine within us and the world around us. Thank you. And I hope you will please join us in living our mission statement with conversation and potluck dining immediately after the service each Sunday. And we would certainly invite you, if you're, say, in Vermont or California, to not join us for that. Just do it wherever you are and share the love that you are with whoever's around you, where you are. We broadcast live on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday, and we would hope that you, if you're on there, you know how to find us. If you scroll down to the links on our webpage, you can get into those resources more easily. We just click on the links for YouTube or Facebook, And you can also find past services and other offerings from Unity members there to help inspire you. There's also a button, I believe it's blue, and it says donate. Can anybody guess what that's for? No? That's why I'm here. You can donate by clicking on that button, following the links, and that if you're inspired to help us in our outreach, we will be inspired by your gift and use it wisely. If you prefer mail to send a donation, you can send it to Unity of the Seacoast, McConnell Center, Suite 246 at 61 Locust Street. I'm guessing it's running up there. In beautiful downtown Dover, New Hampshire, 03820. If you would like to get details about our ongoing events, you can find all that on our meetup page and it's on our Facebook page and possibly also on our website. We have upcoming tomorrow night, Monday the 21st, is the Poets Corner, which at Unity, which it's a poetry group that meets here, and we will be doing horror. So we will be looking at some aspects of the new academic field of horror studies and also sharing our own horrible poetry. And let's see, our acoustic music circle will be resuming on November 10th, and Tom is going to look at me and tell me who the host is. Mikey G. Mikey G will be here on November 10th, following the service from noon to 3. And that is an exciting and extraordinary event. And you know what it is. It's fun. It's music. Music is the gateway to the heart. Next up, we have a event that happens in most Unity churches on a Sunday morning, which is called Namaste, where we put our hands together in prayer position and look in someone's eyes, bow slightly and say, Namaste, which means the Christ in me honors the Christ in you, or the best in me sees and recognizes the best in you. So we're going to get up and do it. And now we shall have another musical offering.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. With God all things were made, by Him and without Him was not anything made that was made. grace and truth. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it now. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth.
Thank you again. Beautiful music all the way across. So Unity began as an after church prayer group meeting and has developed into a magnificent worldwide organization. And we believe that what we think creates our world. So some people say our thoughts are prayers. And one of the great joys for me here at Unity at this time is our spiritual leader, Tom Scheinler, who takes the big ideas, the big thoughts, and helps teach us how to turn them into prayers to make our lives sparkle. So please join us, Tom.
Thanks, Charlie. I love you, and welcome back. So that song nailed my talk. So much so I just may skip and go to the prayers of the people. Charlie mentioned Poets Corner is tomorrow night. For those who've not come, it really is a fun night. We do a little bit of poetry, but we do a lot of discussions about stuff that's happening in our lives or in the world, and I just enjoy it immensely. Hope you don't mind. I'm going to sit today. My back is driving me nuts. So my talk today is, I didn't have a talk for most of the week. I just could not land on something that hit me well. And then I was flipping through old talks, and this verse popped out at me, literally because I had highlighted the verse, but I don't know where it fit into what I was writing in that. But it rolled around in my head. And the verse is John 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And I thought, okay, it jumped out. Let me think about that. And so that's the genesis of the talk. Pretty good using Bible sentence extra. So word in this sense does not mean an arrangement of letters or an identifiable sound. The word is an all-encompassing idea. It's God in all potential. In the beginning, the Word was the start of all that we've become to know. The Word is part of us. It's in the way that we evolve. There's an underlying flow in all that is and all that does and all that becomes. Logos is the Greek word. It's more of a direct meaning of the word. And it stands for meaning, rationale, idea, spirit, and the Word was God. So there's something that binds everything together. Principles work and do what they do, but there's a spirit that allows it to do what it does, that pulls it all together. There's really something intelligent about that. Something intelligent about how each principle works and does what it does and acts and reacts in all. And somehow we evolve that we get to interact with that. We get to find new principles and make life better. We do it daily. And here's a simple example. H2O is always water. And if you add oil, oil stays separate from oil and separate from water. And it happens every time. We see it in salad dressings. We see it when we cook a roast or something. The fat kind of moves away. And they don't mix well. Yet, if we add something with a pH of 10 or lower, it allows the water to hide the oil between the molecules. And we do this every day when we wash our hands, or our hair, or our laundry, or our dishes. So we actually play with these principles and use them every day. I hope. I don't know that everyone's... I'm hoping everyone cleans their dishes and does their clothes and stuff like that. But if you don't, we won't tell. But now this principle has been there long before the first droplets were created. Long before there was a such thing as water. Principles allow us to do so much. We transmit signals like Wi-Fi, radio, television, Bluetooth. We light all sorts of signals, through flipping on lights, and the light travels to us, to information along wavelengths, and it does it between the humps and valleys of waves. And long before there were these types of waves that transmit information, the principle to allow them to do that was there. Sea mammals use this technology, and it's not technology, but they use this like sonar. That big hump on their brain sends and detects sounds, so they can receive it and they can hear a fish, they can know the surface of the ground or a boat. They've had a radar that's been so in tune with the earth, far better than anything that we can design. And the principles that allowed that to happen were always there. Again, the first two molecules of water, the principle of water was there. So much so that those two principles of water eventually kick-started a 70 million year process to carve out the Grand Canyon. So all of this is what that line means. Every possibility, every thought, every scientific principle you ever knew, all of that is contained in that line. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. All that is and was and will be is rolled up in spirit. Some call it chaos theory. It's all jumbled mess until we pick out our own thoughts, and we pick out what we need. Because in that statement is all potential. Picture a big bowl of alphabet soup. It doesn't make sense until we pick out the letters in a certain order to form words and to form sentences and so on, until we get to write our own story. Music is similar. All the notes were already there, not in any order, but waiting for someone to pluck them out or combine them together with other notes to make a sound that is pleasing. Everything we see, feel, and know was all there waiting to unfold, as well as our future hopes and dreams and inventions and creations. They're all there waiting to come into existence. We may not know how, but it's there waiting to be put together. I remember as a kid waiting for a group, my favorite group's new album to come out. When they finish one album, they know that they have to make another one. And they know they will take all of what they know. They will take all these chords and notes and spacings, and they will create something new because all the principles of music have been there. And we know each day when we wake, we will create a new day for ourselves. There's an incredible intelligence that goes into all of that. It's not intelligence like we understand on a human level. It's something more significant. Because each thing has a way that it thrives and survives. And it also appears that all these things are dependent upon each other in some way. The way plants grow. Some trees, they send out roots and they're all connected to the other trees. You think they're a single tree, but it's all one life system. Fish will swim in balls to protect themselves. Yet enough will get away that they will become food and add to the food chain and keep the community around them alive. Salmon streams, part of the ecosystem. Not only in the stream, but in the ocean. Ocean animals depend on those salmon after they come out. Whales will wait at the edge, killer whales at the edge of a salmon stream at the end of the run, so they know that there'll be fish for them. Even the smallest seafood creature that we know of, krill, feeds the humpback whale, one of the largest creatures. And a system that blows me away still, and I've probably mentioned this before, is blood. This fluid, and they actually call it an organ, but this fluid carries oxygen and nutrients all over to all parts of our body. It moves minerals around. It carries fluid to the cells. It transports toxins and other things the body doesn't need to organs to remove them. And then the white cells, when you're sick, it creates more white cells to kill what is making you ill, to kill the infection. It brings protein to the muscles. And after you think, boy, that is enough, that does a lot. When you cut yourself, it transforms itself into a bandage. I just find that amazing. It's just, it can't be a randomness. There's an intelligence that happens in the world every day. And we're part of that intelligence. We're part of that balance. And we need the balance that comes with being alive, with freedom of choice. We need balance in every day, and we need balance in our earth. Here's an example of intelligent balance. Back in the 1930s, the wolf was killed off in Yellowstone National Park, and part of the ecosystem began to struggle. So they decided to reintroduce the wolf into the park in the mid-70s. And soon willows and other foliage began to grow. And beavers used the willow to make dams. Soon there were more beaver colonies. There had only been one up to that point. The elk who were eating the willow began to migrate to other areas to eat, allowing them to grow and eat more stuff and allowing the willow to grow. And they migrated because of fear of the wolf. So they were forced to find these new feeding grounds. They became healthier and their population grew. Birds, especially scavenger birds, started to come back to the area to clean the carcasses of what the wolf ate. Now, new beaver dams made little pools of water, and the fish population in that area grew. And that's just one example, but that's us figuring out the balance. You know, each scenario has been evolving since the Big Bang, and it will continue to do so. And we as humans, we decide how we interact, how we tinker. And a lot of times when we tinker, balance gets out of whack. Our intelligence does not match the intelligence of what's going on in the world. Our source, or Mother Nature, or whatever you want to call it, when we tinkered with the wolf, she threw it out of balance. We reintroduced the wolf. Balance was restored. Every possibility, every scenario already existed since before and before and before. Every ecosystem was there, and every thought, everything that we create is there in that opening line. In the beginning was the Word. Because all principles to make it all happen were in that thing. In the beginning, before spirit, that principle, not before spirit, but in the beginning, the spirit that allows each principle to do what it does has been there as well. In the beginning was all potential, all things to come to fruition. If that's not amazing enough, the universe and all its things was still out there. Think of that. We've sent crafts into space to find new Earth, new connections, to understand how the universe was formed, to see the beauty of it. All the possibilities to make that spaceship happen was there. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his glory, the glory as the only begotten Son of the Father, full of grace and truth. We happened, all of us. We are the only begotten of the Father. We are the only creatures to develop in ways that sets us so far ahead of many other creatures. The Word became flesh. This is us. We take an active role in our evolution. We get to reach into that big bag of chaos and possibilities and whatever, and take and create our existence. We all have done things, and we all accomplished things as a race. And what we will do is still in there, waiting for us to reach in and to unfold it. And when we started reaching in, we did it slowly. We began to use fire. We found heat in it and community. We went from sitting in the dark to building fires to sitting around telling tales and myths. We talked of the animals that we killed or the things of life, and then we began to cook. And our lifespan grew because cooked food has less bacteria. We began to farm instead of forage, and we began to herd animals so that we did not have to hunt. And we built more permanent shelters, and we became healthier. And as our population grew, people moved and spread out and moved toward the sea where they had food from the ocean or from the lakes or wherever they moved. We ate more fish, and we learned to trade our goods. And soon we were trading meats and fish and clothing and spreading our stores around the world and learning other stories. And we kept walking forward as a race because we are the Word of God in human form. We are the individual expressions of God. We've taken every basic element of life and created this amazing time that we live in. Fire has cooked our foods, and it moved to melting plastics and ores, and we shaped the things that we use. And then the other element that we really mastered, that was there from the beginning, was electricity. We wrap our homes in it. We wrap our communities in it. We take it for granted that we can flip on a light switch. But we've captured electricity in ways that are so far beyond. They would stun people who just saw electricity as lightning hitting the ground. We convert it into signals in our computers. We convert it to help us send signals around the world through the web or through the phone. We do things without even a thought of how we do it. I can make a call to Australia sitting at my computer, at the same time pulling another screen and playing solitaire while I'm talking to the person. I mean, these things are amazing. Not that I've done that. I don't know anyone in Australia, but the game part's true. And that's small stuff. But somewhere along the line, we had this idea that we can store it. And maybe we can catch electricity from the sun and convert it into battery packs. And we did that. We launched crafts into space with their own way of catching electricity and transmitting it back to us. We can see the universe through these spaceships that are creating or pulling electricity from suns and stars and all that flows. We have mastered electricity so much, and all those ideas and how to do that were always there in that bag of chaos for someone to put it together. One person gets an idea and they're happy with it. Someone else looks at it and goes, oh, I got an idea. I can make that better. And we've evolved. Remember the first men on the moon? That was amazing. Apollo 13, that's working with God. When they had to save those men, we watched a documentary on how much went into that. Mind-blowing. One of our greatest achievements in the space program is bringing them home safe. And we've done that by mastering the basic elements. Because all these ideas are there. All these principles are there. All of that is, in the beginning was the Word. You know, I think about 100, 150 years ago, we had a simple lifestyle. It was work, farm, come home, clean. There was limited entertainment. You wanted to hear music, you had to go hear it live. You wanted to see a movie, you're out of luck. There were no TVs, no movie theaters, none of that. And we live in this time. We've accomplished so much. You know, in the past 150 years, when we really figured out electricity, reaching into that bag of chaos and pulling out ideas, is just phenomenal rate compared to the whole time before, from the humans, you know, sitting around campfires up to the point that we figured out electricity. And the only other thing that really compares to that is when we built the printing press. Someone had an idea that I don't want to write everything down. And the printing press was created. And people got to share ideas and hold on to ideas. You know, they got to get Bibles for themselves or any books. The fact that before that, everything was oral tradition. So if someone said something and you didn't remember it, you're out of luck. After the printing press, you get a book of information, you store it. You can use it as a reference. And the more you do that, the more you advance the community and society, and you teach your kids. And all of this is in that line. In the beginning was the Word. You know, I think back when I was a teenager and I had my first car, I had a cassette deck. So you had to store all your cassettes in a little box. And if you left it on the dashboard, yep, you were out of luck. They all melted and warped. And then CDs came along. I thought, that's pretty good. They're indestructible. Not so indestructible, but similar. You couldn't leave it on the dash. You had a stack of stuff. On my phone now, I have 2,000 songs and almost 200 books. And I barely used the memory in it. And that to me is amazing. From where it was to now. I just grab my phone, I get in my car and I drive and I can just play whatever. And if I don't have it, I can say, Siri, can you play me this song? And if she's in the right mood, she will play it. I don't know how many of you have Siri, but she's been grumpy lately. Yeah, Siri. Hey, Siri. Uh-huh. Like you're interrupting her from her dinner or something. And then she'll give you the wrong song just to tick you off. But all that from harnessing electricity. And I've rambled quite a bit, but I want you guys to understand that that word, or that line, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I want you guys to understand that it doesn't mean this father figure passing out laws or words or anything like we've been taught. It means that in that sentence is all potential of anything anybody wants. We have this amazing gift to interact with all potential. We get to do it in prayer. You ever drive home and the road is blocked and you, darn, now I got to find another way. And an idea pops in your head. Oh, if I go this way or that, and I can avoid the whole thing. That's working with all potential. That is working with enlightenment. When you're cooking something and it's just not good, let me add something else. And all of a sudden you create a new dish that becomes like a family dish. That's working with all potential. We do this in every day of our life. It's not about the big stuff, and the big stuff's important, but on an individual level, the small stuff is important. That's what builds a life. There are so many things I think of that I've done in my life where I've known I'm working with God. One of the grossest ones, and I know I've probably told you this before, there's a restaurant around the corner there called Sonny's, and I was taking care of that building. And they called me on a Friday at about 6 o'clock, and they said there's a leak in a septic line. And if they call the state to have it come look at it or call a plumber, they'll have to shut down. So I know the owners, and the biggest night was Friday night. So I go look at it, and sure enough, there's a crack in one of the pipes. And it's old pipe. It's, 70, 80 years old. And I know there's a thing called snap cutters, and they'll snap an even line, providing the pipe is good. If it's fragile, it'll shatter the whole pipe. So I knew I had this carbide saw bit that goes on the end of my sawzall. And so I sawed it. Is that the right word? But I cut it almost all the way through. And then I went up and I said, whatever you do, don't run the water for 2 minutes. And so they, all right. So I went down and I called them, your 2 minutes starts now. I finished those cuts, septic still pouring on me, had made a new pipe to go back in, and had put the clamps and everything on the old pipes. So I pushed that up, slid the clamps over, tightened it, and stopped the leak. And it's a gross story that, septic falling on me is not the line you want to picture on a Sunday morning. But I was using all the gifts that God has bestowed upon me in that moment to create and craft and solve a solution. And we do this every day. If I can do this with septic, surely you can do it in a nice, relaxed day of your life. Each of us has the power to create and make our day a little lighter, make our day a little happier. Don't leave it to randomness. Just think, anything I want and desire is out there. If Tom can figure it out on the septic, or NASA can figure it out sending crafts into space, my life falls somewhere in the middle of that. I ought to be able to do anything. Thank you.
energy we focus, the world we manifest, through the art of receiving, creation at its best. Open the door of acceptance, we hold the key. The art of allowing begins to set us free. Stream of well-being in constant flow, a river of abundance. Allow the force to grow. The energy we focus, the world we manifest, through the art of receiving, creation at its best. Open the door of acceptance, we hold the key. The art of allowing begins to set us free. Stream of well-being in constant flow, river of abundance. Allow the force to grow. Stream of well-being in constant flow, river of abundance. Allow the force to grow.
With prayers for the people. I mention this every week, but somewhere out there in the world, in your neighborhood, in your home, maybe it's someone you know, maybe it's someone you don't know at all, but people are struggling to be brave to go out and face the world at any given moment. It could be from sickness, mental illness, poverty, oppression. It could be their own thoughts telling them they're not worth it. The illness may be severe or minimal, but for each person, what they go through is important. And when you're fighting a brave battle, prayer is so important. And I know this from a fact. A year last August, I had been in the hospital. And I was supposed to be in there for another 6 months. And I sent out a message for people to pray for me. And I was home within 2 weeks. So hold anyone you're thinking about in your thoughts. Hold them present. And I ask you to see them as whole. Affirm them as whole. Affirm them as happy, healthy, and safe, and complete. We each are perfect, born into perfection from perfection, and we can remain that way. We can let go of the way life has corrupted our perfectness and return back being whole and abundant. And this we pray to the only presence, the only power within our lives, God the good and great, omnipresent. And so it is. Amen. And I also ask you to get comfortable and begin your comfortable breathing pattern. In and out. And picture a ball of energy. It is warm. It is bright. It is loving. Picture that ball of energy encompassing your head, your forehead, your brain, your jaw, down your neck, and allow as it moves down your body. Fingertips. It moves down your abdomen, over the lungs, down to the hips, to your knees, and to your feet. Your whole body glows with love, light, and warmth. Your whole body is healed. Your whole body is abundant. And let this life expand. It's like a big orb surrounding your body. It increases. And it increases again. Feel it so big that we have enough to send out around the world. And think, I am whole. And they are whole. I am love. And they are love. Picture this globe, this orb of energy, as you say each line, going to where it needs to go. At the same time, it's still growing in you. We are abundant. And we are happy. And we are safe. And we send that to the world. I invite each one of you back to me. Kind of roll it out. Know that you can reach out to the world at any moment. You can reach into yourself at any moment. And when Charlie's ready, we'll do the prayer of tithes and offering.
to make it through. Lead me into the light. Make my eyes to see all that I could be. Help me to see it through. Lead me into the light. Lead me into the light.
Thank you, Barbara. Join us for the prayers of tithes and offerings. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. We'll finish with the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, all is well. And we are richly blessed. Thank you so much. Join us for the Let There Be Peace on Earth song.